Welcome back to the channel, guys, and today we'll be looking at Dark Fina and trying to answer the question of if you should take her to 140. Now, once again, if you like this kind of content, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and without further ado, in my opinion, I feel like Fina definitely got a really good bestowed effect buff. Accuracy is always going to be absolute must, especially when it comes down to just taking on those mono fire teams. Light is always still a threat when it comes to evasion, and since she's a unit that doesn't have a guaranteed hit, this is just something I feel like generally is just really going to help her in PvP. Aside from that, you're just looking at magic attack up and sorcery strike. Before we leave this page, I do want to say that she's somebody who's going to benefit from being reincarnated multiple times, so you definitely want to try and re-roll her. Things like HP is definitely going to be handy. Magic's going to be a must. You definitely want to try and get her dex, her luck up as much as possible, her accuracy as well. Just anything to make her more accurate. And it's really going to help her deal with units that are evasive to guaranteed hits. Characters like Yuffie and any character that's going to be getting that guaranteed hit evade, especially when it comes to sorcery strike. This already had like a high accuracy chance to hit, so supplementing your accuracy will just make this more reliable. As far as the skill that got upgraded here, we're looking at Sorcery Strike. This already removed Runic. It already lowered the unit attack resistance. So the upgrade here we're looking at is it's going to lower reaction ability. So characters that rely on reflex or anything like that, it's going to help her just deal with them and just make them not as evasive or just not get that reaction ability that I feel like a lot of units do rely on. Even though this is a single target attack, it's something that I feel like is just one of the stronger things in her kit, something you will always want on. And with her getting that accuracy buff from being reincarnated the first time, I just feel like this is going to be something that is probably not going to be missing all that often. Next up, we do have Emperor Wall. I feel like this is something that, as long as she does have enough range to go into her re-raise, it's something you will probably, just turn on and off depending on the map. Also depending on who you're running her with. Keep in mind this is a magic raise, so it's not raising her magic attack, so any kind of card that relies on that magic attack buff, this is not going to give you that man-eater. Aside from that, the light and dark resist is something that I feel like is pretty important, just depending on, once again, who you're going up against. Dystopia is probably the best attack in her kit. This is a two-hitter that can also inflict stop, and I have definitely seen this land like enough times to say that it's pretty effective and something you probably always want to use. Mystic Revoke is probably a skill I would recommend you keeping on, just depending on your cards, depending on if you have that +6 Galmia code. This is going to give her that magic attack up. It's something she will definitely go into after her re-raise. This is also going to give you nullification to Confusion, Berserk, and Stun, which are definitely three good nullifications. These are things that can definitely get in her way and just, stop her from getting her skills out. So any kind of defense against anything like that, I just feel like is probably better to have than not. And finally, we have Curse of the Serpent, and that's something else I wanted to mention. She will cast Emperor Wall regardless if she's close to an ally or anything. This is another reason why placement's going to be pretty important and, something to definitely look out for if she doesn't have the room to go into the other things that she may need. And I would definitely have to say she needs the re-raise. She's not exactly the tankiest unit. She can be kind of squishy, and this is also going to give her some AoE resistance as well. So even if you're running her next to a bruiser and a tank, depending on who you're taking on, this is something that will just keep her alive. And, worst come to worst, you still have the re-raise that'll probably, bring her back to life if it didn't get slapped off of her. I do want to mention in her sub main, she does have Demon Kiss. This is something that can inflict paralysis or petrification, and we know that if you get petrification on you, you're probably done for. But do keep in mind that this is something that can be reflected or just guarded by Runic. But I will say that if you're having difficulty maybe hitting units, you don't have the proper equipment or something like that, this does have a chance of hitting evasive units, and I'd have to say it's better than nothing. Next up, we do have Scholar, and I would have to say that this is more so something that's going to make her more of a selfish unit. Law of Speed Reading is definitely something that can be really useful, raising your CT, reducing your activation time. It's going to help her get her skills out faster, definitely act faster. But the best skill that's going to be in here is Law of Geo-Absorption. This is going to give her a strike attack. It is an AoE, and also it's going to give her some damage absorption. So it's going to make it easier for her to stay alive. And I feel like when you pair it with Law of Preservation, it's going to work really well. This is going to just make her more tanky against physical units. The main reason why I would use this is maybe there's some kind of restriction in CM or something that doesn't allow you to use re-raise. You're probably better off trying to make her tankier. But outside of that, I wouldn't say this is my go-to. But Devout definitely is. I feel like there's a lot of good things in here, giving her means of healing your units and just giving them really good buffs. I might turn off Law of Mitigation just because I don't know if she's going to have enough time to really go into all the things that you would want her to have. I will say if you're going to use this, I would turn off Mystic Revoke. This is going to pair well with the AoE resist that you're getting from Curse of a Serpent, as well as giving her some slash resistance. This will make her just more tanky, but this is taking away your access to that Man-Eater buff that you could get from raising your magic attack. But I feel like if you don't have the proper equipment or the cards, this probably is the better choice. Now, although Fina can be used as a support unit, she is more so of a DPS. Even though there are some really good buffs from this, she is an attack-oriented character and she will move forward after casting this. So this could put her in a possibly dangerous situation, and I feel like it's just a skill that's better for manual use. And last but not least, she does have Law of Invigoration. This is the best heal in the game in my opinion, given an attack and a magic buff as well as agility. The way that I use Fina is definitely trying to keep her away from everybody else. Like for me, I use Dwayne, Sephiroth, and her. And since Sephiroth can give himself a barrier, I'm not so afraid of like putting him next to Dwayne. And since Dwayne has means of giving himself aggro, this will probably draw the enemy team away from her and it'll put her in a range to where she has the chance of using this. This also kind of buys her time to go into buffs, and this outright is just a really good skill. As far as her support, you definitely use Scholar of Intuition. This is going to boost that accuracy, and this is definitely a theme for her. You want her to be as accurate as possible. The defense is just an added bonus. And then after that, you probably are using Demonic Secrets. This is giving her agility, spirit, and a spirit pin, so this is going to be good for going up against units that may have a high spirit count. As far as her counter goes, you can never go wrong with preemptive magic. Any kind of means to just deal damage to somebody before they can hit you can possibly save you some games and possibly save her. And since she has access to Sephiroth's card, this is something else that will just help her get this off. And maybe she's receiving a buff from little Leela or possibly Sephiroth himself. Now when it comes to her limit break, this is extremely powerful. It's dealing a 4-hit that's dealing a large amount of damage. This also removes buffs from people, so if there is a tank or somebody else, this will get that off of them. Even more so, this is going to be a really good setup for maybe somebody who's following up after her to just probably kill whatever is in front of them. And pretty much with her mastery ability, you're just looking at more magic attack resist penetration, further cementing that she is a DPS first, and that's probably how you're going to want to use her. So as a whole, I feel like Fina actually got a better upgrade than I initially gave her credit for. Dark has a lot of means of raising accuracy and just making it really easy for her to just deal with evasion. And this upgrade honestly kind of future-proofs her when it comes to just future evasive units. So to answer the question of if you should take her to 140, I would have to say if you have her at 120, it's probably best to take her to 140. She is somebody that I'll also have to recommend you re-roll her as many times, if not to the max, just to give her that best chance of hitting people, dealing more damage, because every little bit is definitely going to count when it comes to dealing with high level PvP. She also does have a card for herself that's going to help her deal more magic damage, and I just feel like it's going to pair really well, giving her more dexterity. And that'll pretty much do it for the video. I hope this helped some people out, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope to catch you in the next one as well. Take it easy.